Teams are ready. The players are ready to get underway. A bit of a wait. But the teams are good to go. Interestingly, North had the choice of which side they wanted to start, and they did pick T side. It is Endpoint's pick. Oh, never mind, they just switched. Alright, scrap that. They did switch. I was about to say it's a bit unorthodox. Typically, you want to start on the CT side. They decide that's what they actually do want to go for. So they debated all of us. And Endpoint on the T side of their choice, looking to pick up a little bit of utility on Mighty Max, who typically is going to delve into the grenades. Obviously, the brains behind the operation. Now, for all of you rats and for all of you trolls in chat, I actually did reach out to Flamesy and I asked, listen, I'm being trolled in chat. I want to make sure I give you the respect of calling you the right name. I'm pronouncing it right. He said it is Flamesy. So that's his name. I'm sticking to it. I've heard from the man himself. MSL instantly barreled out from Surreal. Did get a kill just beforehand and plenty of damage being exchanged at long range. Big headshot from Surreal, taking down the weakened Lekro, and now Gade is being tagged and fragged from the man from Israel, who had a phenomenal performance yesterday in both best of threes, but especially against Movistar, leaving it to a 2-on-2, and Surreal gets his third before he is suppressed by AZ's USP. Now Mighty Max can play the sound cues, can play the position. He's actually done so well in mitigating all the problems. He just looks up and says, "What's up, bro?" before shutting him down and skewering him with the clock. 1-0, Endpoint lead on their choice. Now, I'd like to see some predictions because I think this is a really interesting game. I feel like it could be a very close one. I could definitely see this going 3 maps. But what do you guys think? Give me your predictions, North or Endpoint, and what do you think the overall score will be? I'm going to say 2-1. And I have a sneaking suspicion that Endpoint might actually do this. So, let's see. What side of the Jekyll and Hyde of North do we get today? An inconsistent team, to say the least. Oh, big grenade. That's a juicy nade. Tagging Max, and Crucial does chip away on a few more players, but that's a money nade. $300 well spent. 2 scouts behind it. The weakened up targets can now be finished off. Hefty damage, though, onto MSL. Galil sprays him down to 7. Good shot mid-air from Cajun B. One of the weakened players of Crucial has now been sent to the sidelines. The Flamesy takes the initiative, pushes with his Galil before he's also silenced, leaving it in another 3-on-3 post plant on B side. A lot of deja vu, borrowing a bunch of weapons on top of it. An extra spicy variable, which seems to be working in favor of Endpoint now that they're getting up close and personal. These scouts, they're great at range, but when you have to be pushing in, not so much. And now that Gade has given away his position and his weapon, there is no need to face him. If he does stay in this angle, though, he could maybe let the bomb do most of the work for him, as all 3 players would succumb to their wounds. But Surreal will be able to stay alive, picking up the AK-47 for himself, and Endpoint, as expected, take the 2-0. At least, though, the scout does get saved. MSL will be picking that up for himself. Listen, I spoke to him, guys. Your shitty debates will no longer work. The man himself said it was Flamesy. Alright? Knock it off. Which I thought it was Flamesy, by the way, and then you got into my head, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to disrespect him. So North do tap out for this round. Had to be done, of course. They did force in the previous one, licking their wounds, stacking on the B side. It's only Cajun by himself over on A. While he's firing across to the B side, Lekro has to reposition with his deagle. We know this guy can bang with a deag oh so quickly if you give him a chance. Gade on the side is swiping them across, but Flamesy does come in to stop his killing streak. USP at range. Shouldn't be bothering Flamesy too much. Good shot. 2 kills already to his name. Scout shot lands from MSL. Flamesy's in for another. That's 3. 6 bullets remaining. And Cajun B to find and frag, and he'll do just that. And of course, as soon as I switch across to Cajun B, he gets splatted for a 4K. It's good to see that Flamesy's not slowing down from yesterday. Now, if you remember, some of you probably didn't actually catch the match as there were other ones playing simultaneously, but he did drop 62 kills in 2 maps against Movistar Riders. And what you need to take into consideration is both maps didn't go the distance. The first one was 16-6. The guy was absolutely insane. Well over 100 ADR in that best of 3 and a 1.79 rating. Those are significant. Now, Movistar, no disrespect to them. Not sure you could say they're the same caliber as North, if North are playing well. So if he can churn out another big result here against North, that's a real declaration. He had a good performance against Mouse as well, of course. Flamesy, speak of the man, and he will deliver. It seems like the region of Israel is producing quite a few very interesting players, which is great to see. And with the man's opening pick, an eerie silence falls upon the battlefield. North trying to scramble together, see if they can maybe find a kill, some information. You can see Cajun now is making moves out through Ivy, comes head to head with the bomb carrier of Robin and decides better of that decision. 35 seconds left. Endpoint need to get a move on. All this flirtation has got them a kill, but they need to do something with it now. Does seem like they're going to move into position on B site. Oh, Lecro. Patience paying off. He could have snapped at this shot and blown off the ankle of Flamesy, but it wouldn't have been a kill alongside it. So he bided his time and waited, but it may not be good enough for North. You feel like he needed to get another kill in order for the rest of North to go in for this retake, and now they have to deal with Mighty Max. He's making moves in. He's lurking in the shadows of the site. Site itself is no longer a danger or a threat for North, but they have to be very cognizant of this push. The whole purpose of this is to save their guns, and if Max gets a chance, he will snap these players away. So they will save their guns unless Gade gets a little bit too antsy. He saves it. But Endpoint take a 4-0 lead. And it's a pretty sad state of affairs when the only real positives that I can highlight are that North are able to save 3 guns when they're losing 4-0. Goes to show that this game hasn't really offered them too much. They have got kills at least. It hasn't been a complete bloodbath. They've stood their ground for the most part. They have dished out a bit of pain. Some of the players on Endpoint starting to soar in terms of economy, but they're not as if they're $6,000 or $7,000. They know they're not quite set just yet. They're not far off that mark, though. And a collapse in this round on North would see Endpoint really start to escalate ahead and propel themselves towards a solid T-half already. Opening pick from Surreal. Puts them on the back foot. Good shot from MSL, but neutralized by Crucial, who's up on the blue train. He does love this position. We saw him playing it yesterday against Movistar. The devastating effect. And with the 2 kills that he's dished out, it forced North on the back foot again. Another post plant. Ooh, shot does land on Cajun, gets saved by the box. So, another save. Deja vu striking. But one thing that is not the same is Endpoint's lead. It is growing. 5-0 now. And when I was talking about them standing their ground and dishing out a fair amount of pain in the past, just one kill onto Mighty Max. Not going to be ideal. Now see the rest of the team is spiraling towards $6,000-$7,000. Makes it that North are going to have to win a good 2 or 3 rounds in a row if they want to fully break down Endpoint, in which case then the round loss bonus is starting to accrue nicely. So they're hitting that sweet spot now. Multinational squad. Meanwhile, the Danes plus Swede have their work cut out for them, but they're going to go with 2 AWPs. 3, 4 grenades tossed in towards A main. They will push behind that, but a Molotov separates the CTs from one another. They may be able to divide this. That incendiary is actually pretty big. It keeps Mighty Max at bay and allows AZ to escape and to pull back. I think what Max was looking to do was flash and smoke himself into pushing in. And if he could find AZ, just take him down, knowing that the rest of the CTs couldn't really do anything about it. Echo with the AWP gets one, but the spray's not on point for a second. Does think Surreal, however. Now he needs the rest of his team to jump on top of this. It's a hefty investment. 2 AWPs, keep in mind. They have held on to both of them. Neither Cajun or MSL have been successful so far, and that will keep the same for MSL. He has been culled on the site. As will AZ, peeking out. Thought he might get the upper hand just based off a surprise attack onto Endpoint, but instead he gets smashed instantly, and Cajun has to save. Endpoint are utterly destroying North. I thought this would be a fairly close game, but so far it's been a bloodbath. It's still early days, of course, but still. Endpoint considered a UK team anymore? I think, if I'm not mistaken, Endpoint's a UK org, right? It's based in the UK. That might be where it comes from. But yeah, obviously now you've got Mighty Max and Surreal are both from the UK. Flamesy is from Israel. Crucial is from Holland. And Robin is from Sweden. So it is a bit of a mixed bunch of players. Do correct me if I'm wrong about Endpoint, but I'm pretty sure they're a UK org. North, however, they're feeling the pinch. They're not enjoying how the start of this game has gone. They will call a tactical timeout. Try and put these pieces of their defense back together, because simply put, it has been very one-sided. It started pretty back and forth and quite close in a few of the opening rounds, but now that Endpoint are hitting their stride, the last 2 rounds, I believe they've only took 2 or 3 casualties at most. And that is being highlighted with the overall money that they have. They have total team money of $38,450. That's after buying. That's after they have all of the trimmings and all of the sauce that they would possibly want in this round. Meanwhile, on North, after fully buying with maximum round loss bonus, only $2,700 in the back pocket collectively. There is a huge gulf between the two teams. So, is this where things begin to shape up nicely? Surreal will have to use that smoke, or maybe not. It doesn't actually extend, and that could bait the rest of the team. No, it does. The last tick extends. That's so grim. You can see his HP down to 3. I thought he was safe. It must have been the very last tick that wrecked him. What I was about to say is, had it have not extended and started to take him down, they could have baited the player up on the train into a false sense of security, assuming that angle was covered, and then he may have got peeked from it, but that wasn't the case. Does put Surreal into a very awkward position. I'm a bit surprised he's still in A main, because one stray grenade or bullet and he's gone. MSL put down by Crucial, who goes in for another. Repeaks one too many times, and now the remainder of Endpoint now moving into Pop Dog, pardon me. They said hot dog there. Maybe a Freudian slip. Maybe I could do with eating one right about now. Perhaps North need one. Need a bit of energy. And although Endpoint were put down pretty hard, they're not out just yet. Flamesy joined alongside Mighty Max, but the Israeli has been destroyed by Cajun, and AZ will pick up the pieces. So the tactical timeout magic once again does come to light, able to turn it round for the short term. Whether they can extend it to long term is yet to be seen. Will lightning strike twice? They are a UK org, right? Got you. Cool. It's good to see, man, because honestly, UKCS has been starved of well, really great CSGO teams, but it's been a long time since you could say that a CS team has been consistently up there. Oh, Cajun, that's more like the North that we know. Two big picks from Cajun, and MSL using the other AWP to devastating effect. Mighty Max entry, the first bit of success that Endpoint have had. They've done significant damage to Lekro. But it's the same two players again, Flamesy and Mighty Max. Max using the smoke to his advantage, pushes through, perforating gate. And Flamesy at range, jumping around the corner. Maybe anticipating an AWP would be looking at him, hence the jump. I'm not sure if it was that or just a panic move. MSL flicks down to Mighty Max, leaving it all on Flamesy. The youngster, 1 versus 3. We saw him pull off a truly ridiculous 1v4 yesterday on Overpass, but that will not be seeing the light of day here. North put in 2 consecutive rounds. They were unable to pick up the secondary AWP, but we'll be curious to see if they buy another one. They do. At great cost to their finances. They're still not fully recovered in terms of that. Yeah, they have Neil M as their coach, right? So he's being exchanged and Pop Dog for a bit of control. Nothing really forthcoming though. Flamesy's molly gets extinguished almost instantly. Alright, here's the question then. What do you have on your hot dog? Mustard? Ketchup? Both? Neither? What is your perfect hot dog? Crucial? We'll capitalize on Cajun. I'm a bit surprised he pushed through that smoke. It leaves him very vulnerable. There's not much really room for error. Surreal taking this opportunity to push into Pop Dog. Big headshot instantly into the head of Gade. And with that, into the eyes of North on the site. MSL using the site as his sanctuary. Once that smoke clears, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. In fact, never mind. They push through the smoke with a flashbang. Didn't need to wait after all. Lekro will be peeking from the Ivy side. He gets traded out. Last player is unknown, but now AZ's been found. He's been tagged, and he's been fragged. Endpoint put an end to the 2-round streak of North. And put an end to their economic growth. This is where having to buy that secondary AWP really does sting, because you can see their economy across the board not really in great shape. It depends on how much they want to prioritize the AWP. And this buy is the answer to that question, and that's they're pretty desperate for them. It makes sense on a map like Train. You really do want AWPs wherever you can. But man, is that a bitter pill to swallow. You finally win 2. You bring it back to 2-6, you instantly lose to 7-2, and hey, you've got to go to Deagles. Counter-Strike is a pretty unforgiving game, especially on the CT side. Jump boost across, no one home. It's by and large a stack on B, and they're all playing up close. MSL, AZ, and Lekro. Hoping that there's a fast B hit coming into play. What we can see from our perspective, we have the benefit of having all the information. That probably won't be the case. Or at least not with the bomb. Surreal and Flamesy may move in. They've just seen the shoulder of Lekro around the corner. And that will be enough to put them off. Listen, who am I going to trust? Twitch chat or the man himself? I asked Flamesy how he pronounced his name. He said it's Flamesy. Therefore, I'm going to believe his opinion over people in Twitch chat. Alright, Chief? I think he might know his own name. A clean up on Endpoint. Just catch up. There's a 150-second delay, by the way, so like I'm obviously catching your answers and responses. What will seem like to you forever ago, but that is the case with the 150-second delay. Wait, no. Okay, a couple people have said mustard, which does give me a little bit more faith in humanity. Chili, cheese, onions, and a little mustard. That sounds pretty delicious, actually. Difficult pronunciation. Alright, here we go. Last time a timeout was called, North were victorious. One of their 2 rounds put them into a mini streak, but, I mean, can you even call 2 rounds a streak? I guess if we're being desperate here, and it's the only 2 rounds you've got, in order to be a bit optimistic, we'll say yes. But typically 2 rounds is not a streak, is it? And keep in mind, this is the choice of Endpoint. As MSL and AZ making short work through the smokes. The retaliation push will be imminent as MSL goes in for another one, and elsewhere on the map, Endpoint are being put down hard. Crucial, last man standing, making noise with the ult. He did catch a glimpse of the shadow, but he was preoccupied with that player to his left-hand side, and for the second time, North call a tactical timeout, and they make it work. And as much as Flamesy was the man in the thick of the action yesterday and posting up crazy numbers, today it's surreal. 15 and 5. Very impressive work. More than double anybody else on his team, and top fragging by a considerable margin. MSL is the closest on North with 9 kills. The opinion of the player doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how he wants to be called. It matters what we think. Alright, guys. Solid work. Agent shutting down Crucial. Seems like they have made some good adjustments, North. They're having a general idea as to where Endpoint are pushing in. They're keeping divided. Now that Mighty Max has dispatched of Cajun B, he can pick up an AWP and use it against the CT. So this round may not be done just yet. The bomb carrier and the IGL of Endpoint is isolated from his teammates. But they don't really have too much time to wait for him. Especially now that Incendiary has been put down on A main. That's going to weaken their push that little bit more. And they do have 2 smokes and 2 flashes, which they're now tossing out. Looking to push straight into the site, and it's a B-centered stack. North have given up the site entirely. Now, there's no way for Endpoint to know this, so they're going to waste some time just clearing out these angles. It's only Gade that's on the site itself, and now more rotations coming in. MSL pushed up at the backside of Ivy. AZ now making moves in Pop Dog, but it is going to be a post-plant. Endpoint have somehow snuck and wiggled their way back into this round. And now it may even favor them post-plant. MSL has to go for the peak. The timing's not on his side. Robin just turning to his right and catches a glimpse of him. Now it's on Macro. 1v3 gets put down in Endpoint. What a comeback into that round. It started off with Mighty Max's Tech 9 and then ended with Surreal. Busting out headshots left, right, and center to go 18-5. 9-3 the score. And another desperate tactical timeout has been implemented. This, their third. Alright, here's another question, okay? Because there's some people in my chat that are regulars that, at this point, I've just lost faith in their opinions when it comes to food. What is your favorite condiment? So do you prefer mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce, brown sauce? Insert something here. I'm going to say mayo is king. How many people agree? And how many people are wrong-uns? We'll find out soon enough. Exquisite comeback either way. Endpoint will be elated at that result. North, in the meanwhile, will be kicking themselves. That should have been their gateway back into this game. They could have brought it back to an 8-7. As it stands, though, looking pretty grim. All the finances have been put into this round. MSL again with the AWP, as you'd expect, on the stop sign. Takes a shot, backs away. $50 seconds. Getting to that crunch point now where Endpoint may start to feel they need to make some inroads. They need to get some information. Up until this point, typically, we haven't had many rounds have gone down to this mark without a single casualty. It's been a pretty aggressive game. A lot of AWP shots to start things off. Just under 30 seconds. Gade tossing down smokes, anticipating that that engagement is forthcoming. The trigger now to get pressed down from Surreal. Cajun aggression round the back. Yields a kill for himself, and MSL takes off Mighty Max from the Endpoint roster. The bomb's still yet to get planted. MSL using that smoke exquisitely, and it's a great round for North. Endpoint a little bit slow. They were mixing up the pace, and I can respect that. But North with an excellent hold. My concern here... I said this yesterday about Flamesy, and he didn't actually ever slow down, so maybe it will be the same case for Surreal, but if one man is doing this much work, when you go through onto the CT side, he can't be everywhere at once. He can't be omnipresent. You'd be looking for some more of Endpoint to be stepping up and helping Surreal. If not, North will capitalize on that. MSL, very intelligent IGL, will make the reads and adjust accordingly. This should be a fairly comfortable, straightforward round, to be honest, considering the lack of purchase. Surreal's got his hands on an AK. Ooh, that's a lot of mayonnaises. I love to see that. I do. Mayo is filth. Odysseus, why are you a mod in my channel? Surely not again, North. Surely you're not about to do this again. Oh my goodness. Okay, well at least they've got Surreal. He's the main power play. Crucial. Still alive, but not for much longer. North get 5. What do you mean, nice carry Brit? Surreal is a Brit. He's one of the guys from UK that's carrying his teammates. What are you talking about? Listen, Dominator, are you okay, Chief? Do I need to call an ambulance for you? Flamesy first player to go down. Seems like North will at least be on the edge of bringing us back to a 9-6. Some damage inflicted to Gate. I'm pretty sure they would have heard that. They have a good idea as to what's going on. Garlic mayonnaise. Oh, it's good, isn't it? Two smokes, molly, and a couple of flashbangs. Endpoint do have enough to go for a full execute onto either side, and it does seem like they're going to be opting for B. They haven't gone B in a while now. Been mainly outside hits and Ivy crunches. It did have a lot of success on B side earlier on in the half. That smoke allows a bit of a gap, but Lekro has his eyes on it. And he won't miss. Surreal down. Lekro could go for more, but decides to back away. He knows he's got some cover from Gade, and that is a sublime hold. The wall of Danes and Swede hold on for a 6th round. Still 9-6 behind, though, and Endpoint now moving across to their CT side. Is Marmite just like a UK thing? I know you have like Vegemite and stuff like that in Australia, I think, but is like, for any of the US viewers, do you have anything like Marmite? Do you know what it is? Alrighty, not much waiting in between halves. I certainly appreciate that from the two teams. Jumping straight back into things. Let's have a look at the purchases then. You have a kit, nade on Max, Surreal has a few grenades, and MSL with just a flashbang? What else did he buy? Oh, he bought a P250 for AZ, okay. And also one for Lekro. Solid. I respect that on train a lot, actually. There's a lot of open areas where the P250 is definitely a cut above the Glock. USP will have the advantages when it comes to these long-range skirmishes and encounters alongside B and A site when you get out in the open. The two P250s could be pretty huge. Surreal, is that the HE that he's got locked in? Oh my goodness, Crucial has just been destroyed. Here comes the grenade and it chunks. Surreal now hiding behind the smoke that he tosses down. Wants to wait as long as possible for the rest of his teammates to get into close enough proximity to strike. And Mighty Max with the USP is good. For a second as well. Flamesy chips in for one of his own, but now Lekro using that P250 to devastating effect. He's already picked up 3 in the round. And with Flamesy down to just 5 HP, next bullet kills him. Down he goes. Good round from North, and you see those two P250s coming into action. Lekro got 3, and AZ got 1. I feel there's a bit of bias towards Endpoint. I don't blame you, because not a lot of British pros. I think you're reading into that too much, Chief. I see, like, the audience accusing casters of being biased all the time. I can honestly say I tried to stay as impartial and neutral as possible. I just want to see good Counter-Strike. That's it. It just so happens the Endpoint have been playing better so far. I think that might be in your head a little bit, Chief. Here's AZ catching Crucial, who was flashbanged out from Cajun B, and North stampeding over the sites. Looking pretty easy right about now. Not much the Endpoint could really do. Great utility tossed in. Surreal with his deagle. Somehow actually doesn't die to that UMP. I was pretty sure he would just meet his demise, but it's going to be AZ instead that just capitalizes and crunches on him. So, North. Much better. on their approach, on their execute. And Max will be looking to try and save this scout. He may be able to get away with this or do a bit of damage on his way out, but the round is done, obviously. It's no chance it goes back. Is Max not usually the carry for Endpoint? I've casted Endpoint quite a few times in the past, and I feel like they're a team where anyone can actually step up. Like, Crucial with the AWP, he has games where he goes absolutely massive and he'll drop 30, 35 kills, like, pretty easily. Obviously, they have Flamesy as well that, I'll be honest, up until recently, I didn't know a huge amount about. But it's great to see him really arrive. He hasn't had a great game today, but honestly, Surreal's been doing such a crazy job. He hasn't really been required much. Then you'll see Robin step up really big. Sometimes Max will be this monster entry fragger as well. If he needs to for the team, he absolutely can take on that role, so... They're a skilled bunch of players. Crucial, aggressive through main with Surreal. And they just overwhelm MSL, who drops a Galil. No, not like this, Cade! You've been USP'd at range and you have to Oh no. You had Kevlar, he had a USP. How has that happened? That is the kind of play that wakes you up in the middle of the night in sweats. Now, fortunately, Brigade, it seems like the rest of his team are going to put this one to bed, or perhaps I've spoke too soon. They have lost Cajun, post-plant. There's a kit for Mighty Max. The rest of the team running through with no Kevlar, though, and Lekro is putting them down. He's on for the ace, and he will get it. A heroic ace at that. Just when it was required. But that was ultimately more of an eco round on Endpoint, and they nearly got it done. So we shall see if they can step it up a notch now that they have rifles and now that they have 2 AWPs. Max with a secondary AWP. Oh, MSL's been wrecked. I think that was off a Molotov. Have a look. Yeah, he was in Pop Dog. So that's a molly and maybe a HE alongside it. And he goes out speculatively. You could see he wasn't fully confident in the decision. He almost second-guessed himself. There's a bit of a stall. Maybe because he had low HP and he's just given his life away. Somewhat needlessly. See if that has an impact in terms of how this round comes down, but Endpoint have yet to lose a single point of health. They don't have a vast amount of utility left, an incendiary and a flashbang. But alleviating some of the pressure with a kill goes a long way towards being able to hold the line. Incendiary tossed into Pop Dog, 40 seconds to play with now. The Danes... I'm so used to calling North the Danes, but they have Lekro now, so the Danes plus Swede need to get their hands on this B site. The bomb is over here. The man that got USP'd in the last round. Now the bomb carrier. Now needs to make moves in. Max joining his teammate. Both AWPers here in close proximity. That's the bomb down. The bomb's down on ramp. And with 15 seconds, someone has to go pick this up somehow, someway. AZ dodging bullets quite literally to plant the bomb. And they don't have an incendiary to deal with this either. So now North have a chance. They have a fleeting hope of a glimmer of a window to get back into this, and Robin comes in. Mighty Max 2 dropping down the hammer with the AWP, leaving Cajun 1v2. But a single player has nades at their disposal. Cajun, assuming it's not the full defuse. He knows he has to take a risk in this 1v2. They also don't have a kit between the two of them, but the flick across from Crucial is good. But the amount of time left isn't. He has to back away. North have done it. They take the round. And Endpoint will be so devastated this has come to fruition. Cajun playing the time perfectly. North take the lead for what I believe is the first time in this match. I'm pretty sure Endpoint have been leading the entire time up until this stage. And Crucial, with the saved door, puts it to use. Surreal, taken out by Gade. Didn't quite catch that, it's over on the B side. Flamesy so quick with that deagle, his second kill of the round, and now an AK trades hands. Not for the first time, North, against a fairly weak buy or lack thereof, struggling to get across the finish line. This time it's looking far worse. 2 AWPs now in play. A saved AWP from Crucial and 1 picked up from MSL. Robin, cartwheeling Cajun B, breaks his neck on the fall. AZ will keep a small gap in that smoke. It's not even necessarily about winning this round at this stage for North. It's about doing as much damage on the way out as possible. And he's a goner. Easy pickings for Crucial. Endpoint with a 10th. North with a collapse of a round. Who picked the map? This is Endpoint's choice. If you do exclamation maps, it'll tell you what the veto was. So we have Train, Overpass, and then I believe the decider is Vertigo, if my memory serves me correctly. Here we go. Another tactical timeout implemented. I believe... I can't quite see if that's North or if it's... Yeah, it doesn't show me if it's North or if it's Endpoint taking the timeouts. But if that was North's timeout and they've called all of them, I think they're done. I think that's their 4th. Oh, this is going to be up in the face of Endpoint. Switching up the pace significantly, but it's backfiring, and it's backfiring hard. Crucial still alive on the upper side, nullifying North through MSL, and now Lekro, last man standing. The Swede up against 3 solid Endpoint players, and it's going to be Max that puts him down. So North, they tried to mix it up. They tried to change up the pace and just go for some ruthless aggression, but got derailed. I think they got the first kill, additionally. Just ran through with a MAC-10 and sprayed them down, but Endpoint with an excellent hold in the end. And I did say as well that the downside of having one player really tee off on the first half is, will there be anybody else to back him up? If he has a slow second half, do you have the rest of the troops stepping up to the plate? Yes, is the answer. I want to say that Surreal had, I think, 19 kills after the first half. He's only added 1 more since then, but the rest of his team are looking good. And of course, you mentioned Surreal, and he comes in with a double. It wasn't an eco, by the way, either, guys. This was a full force. They had MAC-10s, they had Kevlar and pistols, and you can see all the corpses littering ramp. They tried almost the same tactic, and this time it wasn't even the same outcome. It was a whole lot more one-sided in favor of Endpoint. What's my audio setup? I have the, if you do exclamation mic, I want to say it's the Rode NT something. And then I have a Yamaha mixing board. It took me ages to set it up, actually, to get it right. Oof. It's awkward for Gade, but not much can really be done when you force bought in the last 2 rounds. Down to 2 P250s and 3 Glocks. No chance. Crucial has that lockdown every single day of the week. And now Surreal can try and pad his stats a little bit more if Crucial allows him a chance to do so. There's the spray into Lecro. Another clean sweep of around 3 players over $10,000. And 2 over 5,000. This is starting to look a little bit comfortable, but North still have chances. It's 13-10. The momentum is starting to shift towards Endpoint. Make no mistake. But North are good enough. MSL's leadership good enough to make a read and to try and find where the weaknesses are. The downside for MSL and North, though, is they are running out of time. They're running out of rounds. Surreal perched up in box halls. We haven't seen too much aggression here from Endpoint thus far, but it's an early warning system. As you can see, the rest of his teammates are actually situated around the A side of the map. Robin up close on Pop Dog, not only to see players drop down, but to hear audio cues. He hears players that run past him going down towards B. But this is almost like a safety net, an early warning system for the rest of his team. Now, they have over-rotated briefly. They sent 3 players back over to A. Now I think they realize it's not necessarily required, but now those players will be brought back in again. The flashbang, so good from Surreal, and Crucial's AWP on point to deliver. North looking a little bit toothless at this stage. They need some entries, and they're going to get it in the form of AZ, who gets 2 before he's sprayed down from behind on Mighty Max. 3-play-3. A situation we are all too familiar with in this map. And Robin insta headshot onto MSL. Flamesy will pick up the frag onto Gade, leaving Cajun behind the CTs. He has the drop on them. He's already clutched today in a 1v2, but Max is going to stick this defusal. Cajun's hoping for the best, and there comes the defuse. He may get some consolation frags, but that's all it's going to be. However, with round loss bonus accruing and a post plant, North will have another bye. But they do so 14-10 behind and 2 rounds shy of conceding the first map of our best of 3. This being the upper bracket semi-finals, the winner of this does qualify for DreamHack Open Fall, which is next month. However, they would need to play the upper bracket finals for seeding. So it would be a huge victory. Whichever team can press forward. It's not over in terms of the tournament. For the loser of this game, they drop down into the lower brackets. They still could make it. It's just their job will be that much more difficult in doing so. Save yourself a lot of grief, a lot of stress, and a lot of games. If you can get the W here. Grenade too deep. Only tags Robin for 2. Slowly ebbing his way into the smoke is Cajun, waiting for it to dissipate. Maybe listen for some sound cues, see if he can get that lurk position perfectly. But Mighty Max through the smoke destroys him. And maybe destroys the flank in the same breath. Max then goes in for another one. Lacro and Gade trying to make a move outside of main. The barrel of the gun's been spotted. Crucial. He's ready to pounce. There will be no second chances given to North. It seems like Endpoint want to end this right here, right now. And although Cajun is stacked up on $8,000, everybody else below $4,000. He will buy an AWP for MSL. They can go for Galils. They'll have a few AK-47s in here as well, but far from ideal. No, I don't think I'm using the USB. I don't know what the cable is called. It's the one that plugs into a mixer. North. First pick. MSL nearly gets a second. Is that going to be good enough? Endpoint still have Mighty Max waiting in the wings. Flashbang over. Switch to a CZ, but no one's pushing. Doesn't need to go aggressively. Surreal has gone aggro through into the box halls. While Crucial comes in with one and the other AWPer of Max dispatching of the second. Gade getting up close with the Galil, but Max has gone in for yet another frag. And there's an extra to add to the mix, a 3K. The brains behind the operations. And speaking of which, North only have MSL left, but not for much longer. 16-10.